Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. It was a very exciting week of Halloween Horror Nights Orlando news, as this week was in fact Scarezone week. So yes, as I hoped and somewhat predicted, Halloween Horror Nights Orlando blessed us this week with an entire week of Scarezone announcements, and that's what we're here to discuss today. So as of filming, we have 4 announcements already made. There might be another one on the way, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And there's still 2 IP houses to announce, shows, food, still lots of Halloween Horror Nights news to come. But before I jump in, just in case this is the first video of mine that you have ever seen, hi, I am Liz. I am a diehard Halloween Horror Nights fan. I have been attending the event here in Orlando since 2001. Here on my channel, I discuss all the news, rumors, announcements, speculation, and come the fall, I vlog from the fog. So if you love Halloween Horror Nights, if you love spooky content, make sure to click to subscribe. For my loyal viewers who have been here all season, how exciting was it to get Scarezone week this week? I called it. I was hoping in last week's video that this week would be Scarezone week, and in fact it was. So let's get into it. So just like last year, we received a week of original house announcements, and then the day the tickets were released, we got a big IP. This year it was Terrifier, and the week after we got Scarezones. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think this is kind of a fun way to get the information, because at least in recent years, we haven't gotten full teaser videos or announcements for originals. They've really gotten away from having a ton of content about the originals on the website. And at least this way, us fans get a little bit of fanfare for each original house and each original Scarezone. So while it makes a very hectic couple weeks for the creators out there like myself who love Halloween Horror Nights and talk about all of these things, it's a hectic week knowing we're gonna get an announcement every day. At this year it was 10:34 a.m. but it makes it really fun, and there's something to talk about every single day. So I have no complaints. Obviously I wish it was the old way where we got full backstories and lore leading up to an original house, but knowing the way things are now, I think it's a pretty fun way of doing it. My only wish was that we got a little bit more information on all these Scarezones, because we basically get one sentence and that's not enough. I want more. But let's go ahead and dive into the 4 Scarezones we have so far, and I'll explain why I'm making this video before we get the potential 5th announcement. So we kicked off Scarezone week on Monday with our entrance zone, and that is Origins of Horror. Enter a decaying conservatory of twisted vines where artists carve tributes to Halloween Horror Nights 34. You'll encounter monstrous crows, gargoyles, and more. So this is our entrance zone to Halloween Horror Nights 34, and it ties into the overall theme of the event, which is this stained glass conservatory that's part of the artist house, El Artista. And we were promised that that conservatory would kind of bleed through the entire event, and here we see it as our entrance zone. Another tidbit we got from that Spooky Empire panel is that supposedly this zone is going to stretch through by the Minions area again. It was formerly Plaza of the Stars, I think is what it was referred to. So it's not gonna just be that tiny little blip right at the front of the park. Supposedly it's going to go down the street, and you're gonna see these gothic themes all the way down until you reach basically the Music Plaza. That's what we've heard. I hope that's true, because that little tiny entrance zone needed a lot of love the past 2 years. It was a little wimpy. And if we're only going to have 4 true Scarezones this year, if that rumor is true, then I want this one to be fully fleshed out. You know, have a bunch of different characters, not just be a hodgepodge zone representing all the zones. I want a dedicated, real fleshed out zone, and that sounds like what we're getting with this one. So personally, I love the gothic conservatory vibe. I can't wait to see that on merch. I can't wait to see it throughout other aspects of the event. And I think this zone really set the tone of Halloween Horror Nights 34. Moving on Tuesday, we got Masquerade Dance with Death. You're invited to a masquerade ball where bloodthirsty vampires lurk behind ornate disguises. When their masks fall, you'll become the prey. So we expect this zone to be our Hollywood zone, and I love this concept. Yes, we've had masquerade houses in the past. We had Blood Masquerade in 2006, we had Masquerade and 2014. But I think it's time for a fresh take on it, and I love to see vampires returning to this event. Kind of surprised it's not under the Vamp name, but maybe they decided it was time to kind of branch out for that and do more serious vampires, more scary vampires. I don't know why I did this, but scary vampires, as the Vamp Scarezones tend to be a little more campy, a little more funny. But I think this one's going to have much more spooky vibes. And I can't wait to see what costumes they put in this area, what music they use, what stages they use to set this ballroom atmosphere. I am excited for all the zones, to be honest, but very excited for this one. On Wednesday, we got our next scare zone, and that is the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. Travel down a spooky winding path to a mysterious home where trick-or-treaters are transformed into feral felines. Be careful or you'll be next. So this is our Central Park scare zone. This is the rumored werecat scare zone. So not quite werecats, but it is still this cat lady, this witch figure who's transforming children, trick-or-treaters, into cats, into felines. I'm very excited to see these costumes because I imagine they're going to be cat-like creatures, but in trick-or-treat, traditional trick-or-treat costumes. It's in Central Park, so I know we're all hoping that the lit up pumpkins are in the trees again. And there's a little structure at the end by animal actors that we're pretty sure is going to be the witch's house, or the witch's hut, whatever you want to call it. It looks like the scare zone again is going to expand, not just be Central Park, but also into that little courtyard area of animal actors, which I love when they do that. Give them more space. It's been a long time. I want to say the last time they used that space that I can remember off the top of my head was 2013 with the Walking Dead scare zone, where they had the RV there and the zombies would come out that far. Maybe it's happened again since then, but that's off the top of my head the last time I can remember it. So it's been a while. And I think this zone could use a little more space because it gets cramped in that main walkway, and at least this way maybe the scare actors have a little more space to move around. I also absolutely love the artwork for this one. It's very traditional Halloween, and I love traditional Halloween. I'm kind of wearing traditional Halloween today, and I think this one has a ton of potential to be fun. I can't wait to see what they do for the cat makeup or masks or whatever they're doing for this one. And then today, Thursday, we received Mutations Toxic 20s. In a 1920s neighborhood, a BuzzCon truck with radioactive cargo crashes into a mobster getaway car, sending the city into toxic pandemonium. So this one is our New York zone. It is the rumored Mafia Mutant zone. But I love the artwork for this too. I think it's gonna be so fun to be set in the 1920s. I think we're gonna see flappers, we're gonna see mobsters, and they're gonna be mutants. And it's a fun little callback to Bugs Eaten Alive with the BuzzCon reference. In this case, this would be a prequel. This is 1920s. BuzzCon and Bugs were more in the 1950s, 60s. So this is BuzzCon. Maybe this incident they had to change their name to BuzzCon. No U in the Bugs Eaten Alive version. Who knows? Or it could just be an editing error. That's really cool to tie in a company that we know from Bugs Eaten Alive with their product Exterminaire, and then take it back to here's another product they had, or another incident they had back in the 1920s that turned people into mutants. I think we probably should have known. Maybe that's why they had to change their name. They had a really bad publicity moment in the 1920s, and they had to change their name so that people didn't associate their brand with the mutants that got released in New York City. Maybe that's the lore. But as we know, New York has a ton of space. I'm expecting a ton of actors. I think there'll absolutely be some set pieces out there in the streets to help you feel like you're in the 1920s. I'm very curious if there's going to be a stage for this, because that scare zone has had a stage for many, many years now. So will there be a stage event? And if so, what's happening on that stage? Because it's kind of a hard theme to imagine what could be happening there, but we will see with time, especially if they start building it very soon. So if you're keeping count, that's 4 scare zones. I'm filming this on Thursday, so there should be another scare zone announcement tomorrow, with it being Friday. And we do have one more rumored zone in San Francisco that is just being called the Party Zone. Now I'm filming this today One, because I'm choosing to believe the rumors that we have really 4 official scare zones and 1 party zone. I'm not sure that they're going to have an announcement for the party zone tomorrow, but also I am going away for the weekend, so I can't film tomorrow. So I had to film today or wait till next week, so I figured, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and film with the 4 full-fledged scare zones that we know are coming. And if there is a party zone announced tomorrow, I'll talk about that in my next video, which will likely be next week because I'm pretty sure we'll get another announcement of some variety next week. So anything that's announced tomorrow, I'll talk about it in a later video. I don't expect there to be a fully fledged announcement for it, but I could be completely wrong. I'm suspicious because they're specifically not mentioning how many scare zones on their website. I don't think they want to say there's only 4 zones, and so they've changed the wording on the website just to say scare zones. Normally it says 10 houses, 5 scare zones. So with that bit of information, I think they're leaving it ambiguous, but maybe they'll announce it tomorrow. We shall see. But by the time you're seeing this video, you'll probably have an answer, so we'll see very soon. So that's all the official news for now, but I do have one interesting rumor that I want to talk about, and that is what's happening with the tribute store. Right now, it is sounding like we are not getting a tribute store in either of the 2 locations that we are used to having a tribute store. So we're used to either the Extended Cube by Mummy or the shop in Hollywood that is currently being used for the annual pass holder store. It's sounding like neither of those locations are being used, and I do know that all of a sudden last week, the arcade that's attached to the Mummy closed. Now, I don't think that's a permanent closure, because I think they would have announced something if they were closing down the arcade entirely. I think it's a temporary closure, and we're going to see that being used as a store. I don't know if that's because Rip Ride Rocket construction and the stuff that's happening over near where the tribute store normally is interfering. If they've decided that having a full-fledged tribute store isn't monetarily a sound decision, I have no idea what's happening. But it sounds like we are not getting a full multi-room tribute store. And if that's true, I am heartbroken. I think over the past 10 years, we've all grown to really love and cherish the tribute stores and how much extra lore we get as fans in those rooms and how many little Easter eggs get hidden. And maybe the writing was on the wall when we didn't get a summer tribute store and instead we got that little overlay in San Fran for Jaws, and a little overlay over in Hollywood at Schwab's for Back to the Future. I'm worried that's basically what we're getting for Halloween Horror Nights. A few little store overlays rather than a full-fledged tribute store. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the rumors are wrong, but I want to go ahead and put that out there that it might not be happening. So we will stay tuned with construction updates and kind of see what's happening, but I'm nervous. All right, guys, well, that's gonna be it for today. I expect I will see you guys back here very soon, probably next week. So until then, stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.